Find the inverse of a one-to-one function. So the strategy for finding the inverse from a given function f of x, the first step is to replace the function f of x with y. Step 2, interchange x and y. Step 3, you solve the result for y. And the last step would be replace the y with f inverse of x. So we try this example. Find the inverse of this function and verify the result. So first step, we replace the f of x with y. I'm going to write down the function into here. So we have f of x is equal to 3 over 2x plus 2. So 3 over 2x plus 2. So first step, we replace the f of x with y. So the right hand side, I still copy down. Now step 2, interchange x and y. So now I'm going to rewrite y into the x. And the x turn to the y. Then plus 2. The next step is you solve for y. Y is here. So I'm going to bring the 2 to the other side. So 3 over 2y is equal to x minus 2. Now I'm going to multiply 2/3 to the both sides so that this number will go away. So now your y is equal to 2/3 x minus 4/3. I distribute this number into each term of the inside. And then you replace your y with f inverse x is equal to 2/3 x minus 4/3. So this will be the inverse of the function f of x. Now the question asks us to verify. So verify the result, we just do both way, both direction. So f compose g, we want to get a single x, or g compose f, we want to get a single x as well. So we have the f of g of x. Now start from g function. G function, that means it's the inverse function here. So 2/3 x minus 4/3. So I keep the f outside. 2/3 x minus 4/3. Now we only have f function remaining here. So we use the f function. 3 over 2x plus 2. So 3 over 2x, I leave it blank, plus 2. Now this blank, we substitute the 2/3 x minus 4/3 here. Now we distribute. 3 over 2 multiplied 2/3, it cancels out, turn to the x. 3 over 2 multiplied with negative 4 over 3, this 3 and 3 cross out. 2 and 4 cross out, so you have the minus 2. And then plus 2 by the end. So it gives us a single x. Good, this is what we want. We do the other way around. This one has the g function outside, g of f of x. So we start from f function, has 3 over 2x plus 2. And your g function remains outside. Now, g function is the inverse, right? The inverse function we just solved here. 2/3 x minus 4/3. So I'm going to write down 2/3 x minus 4/3. Now we replace the blank with the 3 over 2x plus 2. Distribute it. 2/3 multiplied 3 over 2 is 1. So you have the single x plus 2/3 multiplied with 2. So you can treat the 2 is 2 over 1. So you just cross multiply. 2 to 4. 1, 3 is 3. And lastly, you minus 5 over 3. So these two numbers cancel out, you get a single x. So we verify the result of the function f and the inverse function of the f of x, because both of the results show us it has a single x. Understand the relationship between the function, the graph of the function and the function inverse. So find the inverse of this graph of this function. Graph the function and its inverse on the same set of coordinate axes. So this is a cube function plus 3. So I'm going to sketch the graph. I think that's the easier way to identify it. X power 3 plus 3. So you shift 3 units to the y-axis, right? So the river, it will shift, it will change the direction when it comes to the 0, 3. Okay, so this would be the f of x. When two functions are inverse to each other, that means based on the mirror image of the y equal x, these two functions, they are respect to each other, or they have the mirror image based on the y equal x. So from here, I can kind of sketch the graph by looking at the mirror image here. So this part, when it reflects to here, it will turn to this way, right? So here has 0, 3. When it reflects to the x-axis, it turns to the 3, 0. This is 3. So we're passing through here. And then it will go to this way. Okay? So this would be the inverse of the f of x. These two functions, they respect to each other based on the y equal x. We call this is the mirror image of the y equal x. Alright, so here they sketch the graph to show you here. Or another way you can sketch the graph is just simply to find the inverse of the f of x. So finding the inverse of this one, we rewrite this one into the y equal x power 3 plus 3. Or you can just simply to find the inverse of this function. So f of x, this is y, right? So y is equal to x power 3 plus 3. Now we interchange x and y, so x equal y power 3 plus 3. Solve for y, so x minus 3 is equal y power 3. So that means y is equal cubic root of x minus 3. And then you replace the y with f inverse of y of x. So here you can see the function of the inverse has a cubic root of x minus 3. So that means based on the parent function of the cubic root, it shifts 3 units to the right. So it's pretty much the same graph I sketch here. So you can use the rewrite the function into the inverse way to find the graph, or you can just simply to use the mirror image to sketch the graph, unless the question asks you to solve it by hand. Okay. So this function f defined by the given equation is 1-to-1. So this would be the first definition. It must be a 1-to-1. If the function is not 1-to-1, we cannot find the inverse. So now you need to find the f of x equal 4 over x squared. So we try this one. So the first step, rewrite the f of x into the y, right? So 4 over x squared. I'm going to put the x greater than 0 here. Now we interchange x and y. So x equal 4 over y squared. Now since x, y interchange, I have to change this x 10 to the y. And now we solve for y. So solving for y, I'm going to multiply y squared on both sides. So here will cancel out. So your y squared x is equal 4. Again, y is greater than 0. So now y squared is equal 4 over x, y greater than 0. So y is equal plus minus root 4 over x. Y is greater than 0. So here, since they give us the restriction y equals 0, so we only pick the solution is a positive solution. So only go with the root 4 over x. So here, root 4 over root x, I'm not sure whether the answer key will let you input this one, or you might have to simplify it. So root 4 is 2 over root x. And generally, we don't like the square root number, especially the square root unvariable number on the bottom. So we duplicate the square root x. So the inverse of this function would be 2 root x over x. And then the last step would be rewrite the y into f inverse of x. So you input your answer is 2 root x over x here. Now the x, for here, you will have the x is greater than 0.